Hey everybody, this is Ralph Perez from Bronx Astro Cafe. Okay, this is a new channel I have, aside from a couple other ones that I already have. But if you like this content, if you're into astrophotography, how to do it from the city. I'm in New York, I'm in the Bronx. Okay, that's challenging stuff there. Please tap on that bell, give me a like. I like likes, and also consider subscribing. This is a new channel. I want to get that algorithm going so that you guys can learn how to do astrophotography in the city, in the Bronx. Now, there's quite a few people out there that do that, and I give my hands off that they know a lot more than me. I'm still kind of going through a learning process per se, so I want to take you with me on this journey. I've already shot the Pleiades. I'll post a link to that video below so you can see what I did with that. But let me show you what I have here. What I have here is the equipment I'm going to use tonight to shoot the Great Orion Nebula, M42. It's in the constellation Orion. Now, those of you, listen, you can live here in the city and see this constellation easily. All you have to do is look up at the night sky at this time of year during the winter months. We're in late December going into January. Happy New Year. And when you look up, if you see 3 stars lined up, 1, 2, 3, in a straight line like that, that is the Orion constellation. That is the belt of what's called Orion the Hunter. It's a mythical being from, Greek mythology. Now, right below those 3 stars, right underneath, okay, you'll see another star. A few, think of it as inches in your head, when you're going down. 2-3 inches. You'll see another star. It looks kind of fuzzy. It doesn't look exactly as sharp as the other ones because it's not a star. It is the Orion Nebula. For those of you who don't know what that is, the Orion Nebula is a stellar nursery, a place where stars are born. They are actually being formed out of the gas and dust that's in there. Now, I've taken a picture of this recently. I'm going to put that picture here so you can check it out. I used a 180 millimeter TPO refractor telescope to take this shot. And that big bulge of gas you see on the right side is the Orion Nebula. In the lower left, you're going to see another nebula that's in that same constellation by the 3rd star of that belt. It is called the Horsehead Nebula and the Flame Nebula. Didn't really capture so much light from that, but it definitely caught a lot from the Orion Nebula. I had to do some processing on Photoshop to really draw in what was already there. But now I'm using something with a bigger focus. This is what's called the Radian Raptor 61. It is a 61 millimeter aperture with a 275 focal length, almost 100 times more than the other one. So it's going to tighten it a little bit more, but it's still wide considering, right? So I'm going to shoot the Orion Nebula with this, and this is how I did it. This is how I'm doing it. I'm using this camera. It's a regular Canon camera. It is a Canon 3Ti. It's an older camera, okay? And it is what's called Astro Modified. I actually sent this somewhere to have them remove the filters inside the camera that help regulate, the color distribution or whatever in regular photography. So now they took that out, so everything looks red now. When I looked through it, I took pictures, and the sky looks red. Everything looks red. Everything looks like Mars, right? So now it's gone. So that means a lot of the infrared, all of the different kind of wavelengths of light that are emanating from these nebulas will be able to actually be captured now in this camera. Okay, have a little SD card here to collect all of this. My plan is to take about 80. I'm going to take 80 shots of this of 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds each of exposures. And the idea is that I'm going to eventually put them together in a thing called stacking. Okay, a lot of people use SkyStar Stacker, or I forgot what it's called actually, because I don't use it. It's usually in Windows. I use another one for Mac, because I am a Mac guy. I got Mac all over the place. So I use that. It's I forgot the name of it. I can't think of it right now, but I'll let you know what it is. I'll put a link down below so you can see what I use to stack the photos. What I'm going to do is take all 80 of those pictures and put them together. What does this do? This helps get rid of a lot of the noise, a lot of even some of the light pollution, I believe, from the night sky. Now, Ralph, how are you going to get this image, right, from the sky when you got all this, I got street lights down the street. I got like the lights from Manhattan behind me. How's this going to work? Well, they have created light pollution filters just for this purpose. And I have one inside the telescope itself. It's inside this filter vault right here. And it's called a Optolong L Pro filter. It's going to cut off a lot of the light pollution, lighting, but allow enough to just get the right kind of lights that's coming from the nebula and the stars around it into the camera so we can take these shots. What's great about this is that this telescope is what's called a triplet refractor. It has three glasses in it that will help with the sharpness, with the detail. And the smaller one actually is also a triplet, funny enough, but it was cheaper. This costed me like $1,000, but you could I'll put the link below to where you could get this particular telescope. A lot of people think you need these giant telescopes to take these kind of images. Wrong. This is a hobby I picked up during the pandemic, and I have it mounted on my Skywatcher Star Adventurer Pro. It is a mount that will follow the rotation of the Earth, and it will, as it goes, as the Earth turns, this will follow it, and it will just keep going. Like it will kind of move, like obviously not that fast, but that's the point. I balanced it. I have to balance it. There's a weight here where I had to balance it so that it doesn't stress the mechanisms inside, and then I have this thing. What is this? This is a dew heater. When you're outside and you have these kind of things, these things are made to be outside, by the way. They're built for that. But after the cold, some dew will form. It forms on the trees, it forms on the grass, it forms on my car. It will form on the telescope. It might even form on the glass. Now, there is a dew shield on the telescope that will help with that. But this will offer an extra help by heating up this to prevent dew from forming on the glass. That way I don't get my images screwed up. So this is going to be plugged in. I'm also going to have where is it? Where is it? I have it. It's I'll just tell you what it is. I have something, it's like a little remote that I connect to the camera where I set up the image, the 80 pictures I'm going to take for how long, 2 minute and 30 second exposures. And, that's it really. And it's going to be great. So I am going to do this, and I'm going to go outside now with this, and I want you to join me as I set it up. Here's the thing I have to do. You always have to do this with any mount. It doesn't matter if it's a little mount like this. This only costed me $400. Or a big mount that's more expensive, that's in the thousands. But you have to point it at the North Star Polaris, because that is the star that just stays constant, and every other star kind of goes around it. I'm not going to get into the science of that now, but the point is, as long as you have that aligned, and there's a little scope built into this star tracker that will help you align to it, as long as it's aligned right to that pole star, the Polaris, the North Star, you should be able to be fine. It won't like drift out of view. The point is, for whatever you're shooting, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a star cluster, a galaxy, a nebula, like in this case, it won't drift out of the field of view of the scope, because this is what's happening. It's moving with it. It's moving with it as it's taking these long exposures, okay? And the idea is that it will stay on it because it's moving in, like parallel to where the North Star is, which doesn't really move at all, actually. It stays right where it is. Because the Earth, it's on the North Pole. Again, the science of it, another time. But, when I'm done shooting, I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to put it in my software to stack it, and then I'm gonna take it to Photoshop, where I will start doing the drawing out, getting rid of more of the noise and all that kind of stuff. So I hope this works out. Again, this is the Bronx. This is Bronx Astro Cafe. I gotta make a coffee cup that has Bronx Astro Cafe written on it, because I have my horror and coffee cup from my other channel. I'll put the link to that so you can check that out if you're into horror movies. But in any case, here it is, Radiant Raptor. This was referred, this is on OPT website, and big shout out to Trevor Jones from Astro Backyard. He was the one who inspired me to make this kind of thing possible from my yard at a light polluted, nothing's more light polluted, I think, than New York. Let's be real, okay? I definitely want to be able to take this out into the country at some point, out into the, dark wilderness, so that I can really do this. All I have to do is not get eaten by a bear. Then I should be fine. All right, so I'll see you outside, and you'll see the image at the end of this video that I generated. Later. Okay, my God, what a night. I finished photographing the Orion Nebula around like 2:30 in the morning, going on 3. It went well over 3 hours, right? Again, it was 2-minute, 30-second subs. Each shot, 80 of them. So obviously, if you do the math, it goes out that long. So I'm right now stacking the pictures. I went to sleep. I went to bed because I ain't freaking doing it in the middle of the night. I was tired. And this is the Affinity Photo. Remember, I couldn't remember the name. Affinity Photo. If you're a Mac user and you don't do Deep Sky Stacker, that's the name of the one that's popular for Windows users. Use Affinity Photo. I've been using it, and you know what? I'm sure there are better ones out there, maybe, but and I'll look into it eventually. But right now, this has been my go-to, and right now it's stacking the Orion Nebula image, which is right here. You can't really see it; it's in the middle. It's being covered by this. It's relatively bright because I had it on the ISO of 200. Now, usually, people like going higher. Like 800 is usually, they call it the sweet spot. Now where I live, it's too washed out. So I go down to 200, and that's what I've been using, and it's been, for all intents and purposes, working. So here we are. And while I'm sipping my coffee, right? Here in Bronx Astro Cafe, I'm gonna wait for the stacking. It takes a while. The computer's working really hard. And then once it finishes stacking, I'm going to take it over to Adobe Photoshop, where I will, what's called, stretch it. I'm going to stretch it. Now, let me tell you something really interesting. I'm adjusting the phone here. When I've been doing usually is that when I'm done taking my pictures, I put the lens cap on the telescope. And I take some extra more pictures, like 15 to 20 of them. These are what are called dark frames. And the idea is that you're supposed to stack them with these, which are called light frames. Because it helps get rid of the noise and stuff. It helps in improving the image, basically. I forgot to add the darks. I only got lights here. Now, I've done that before. I've only done just lights, and they, whatever I've messed with has come out relatively well. But so I kind of kicked myself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see how this comes out in Adobe Photoshop, and then I'm gonna do it all over again with the darks to see if there's a difference that's noticeable. All right, so I'm gonna try to do that. So there it is. There's the update. See you soon.